executive chef at Aquinas College, here at Aquinas College, and we are going to teach President Quinn how to cook today. So we're going to start with Get Cooking AQ with President Quinn.
Hello, welcome. Welcome to all of you. Welcome to Brookby. We are actually in the kitchen, the main kitchen at Brookby, which is the president's residence, which is kind of right across the street from the college. So Chef Katie here is going to have a very tall order. She's going to try to keep me from injuring myself while I cook something. So good luck.
It's going to be all good. All right, so we are doing an Irish themed meal today. So we are going to start out with the corned beef because we all know that corned beef takes a while to cook. We're going to slow braise it, which just basically means we're going to cook it in liquid in an oven for a long period of time. We have about a 7-pound cut of corned beef brisket right now. That's going to take about 3 hours in a 300-degree oven. So to get started, we're going to take this pan and we're going to pop open all 3 of the Guinness Blonde. And
okay, you didn't tell me you were going to be playing to my strengths.
I know, right?
I've done this before, but not for a long time. All 3 of them, huh?
Yep, all 3 of them.
All right, just pour them in again. Something I know how to do. Why Guinness Blonde?
So you want like a pilsner or a lager, because you want something that isn't going to overpower the corned beef flavor, like Guinness would.
Stout would, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then you kind of want, so you want that balance of flavor. You still want that really awesome Guinness Harps. It would also be a great addition. All right, so to the beer, you're going to add the 2 cups of water and then the spice mix, which is bayleaves, clove, and mustard seed.
2 cups of water, okay.
Yep.
And you said bay leaves and not bay leaves, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, not the creamy
just
Irish.
toss these in?
Yep, just go ahead and toss them in.
All right.
And what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the stove and bring it up to a boil.
Okay. There we go.
All right, and while that is coming up to a boil, we're going to teach you how to cut an onion.
Uh-oh. Okay.
All right, so to cut an onion's got 2 sides, the hairy end and then the stem end.
Okay.
So we're going to cut both sides off.
All right.
And then cut it in half. And then peel that really gross dry layer off.
Man, it gives it body.
We're going to do what's called a French cut on these onions. So basically, instead of going, so we have rings, we're going to go where we have slashes.
Okay.
Basically what that does is when it helps break the onion down.
Like
Yep.
Okay.
So what I like to do is start with your knife kind of angled toward the onion, and then just keep going this way.
Got it. Okay.
And once you get about halfway, so you don't cut your fingers, you're going to lay it back down again.
Okay.
And
So
go.
at an angle.
Yep. And then slowly move yourself back.
All right. Let's
All
see if we can
right.
find it. Okay. Is that everyone clear? Right. Like this?
Yep. There you go.
I'm sure I'm doing this wrong, but
No, you're doing just fine. There you go, that looks good to me.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to layer the onion that we cut and the onion we have down at the bottom with the garlic.
okay. So just like a bed.
Yep.
So the garlic will be on top of the.
On top of the onion, yep.
Top of the
Basically what you're doing is you're creating a layer of vegetable to just kind of protect it from the bottom.
Got it.
So it gets a more gentle heat to it.
And these should be separated or no?
They can just actually go right on in.
Okay. It's gonna cook so long. It's gonna
Yep, it's just basically just going to break them down.
Like that. Okay. And then lay this on here.
Actually, we're going to put the rest of these in
The
there.
rest of them in there too. Okay.
Oh yeah, we're going to get a good,
Holy cow.
it's a lot of onion.
That's a lot of onion, but it cooks down, right?
It does, it does.
All right.
All right, then yep, we're just going to sprinkle those on there.
Look at that, full cloves. You don't get to do that.
Exactly.
I didn't realize that garlic was popular in Ireland.
It is a bulb vegetable, so they do grow it.
Well, garlic is grown everywhere, I guess, huh?
That is true. All right, we are gonna bring that pan of.
This guy.
Yep, right over
All
here.
right.
Now-
Look at this.
It is pretty good, I agree. All right, so one of the first things you always do when you're cooking with meat is you want to dry it off before you do any cooking to it, because the moisture that's in the bag when you unwrap it is always kind of a little gross.
Oh, there you
A
go.
little sticky. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to take paper towel and we're just going to go through and dry it off.
By the way, I toured the science building earlier today. It just reminds me of that.
I believe that. Move this back. Alright. So then we are going to take it and just stick it right in here.
Okay, fat side up.
Fat side is always
Okay.
up, with corned beef, I should say. So basically what it's going to do is once this comes to a boil, we're almost there, waiting on boil, just because that's what we do. And we're going to pour it over. So basically what you want to do is you never want to, when you braise, you never want to start with cold liquid. You always want to kind of start that process slowly. So if your oven is set at 300, you have this. Once you pour the hot liquid onto it, you're going to just stick it right in the oven, and then I'm going to start the process at a gradual speed.
Got it. Okay. So you bring it to a boil.
You bring it to a boil because basically what that's going to do is soften the bay leaf. It's going to start softening the mustard seed and the cloves, so you're going to get more of that flavor out of it. And and it'll start to boil off the beer, the alcohol in the beer. But essentially, it's all going to go away anyway, with as long as it's in the.
Well, beer is just liquid bread, right?
Truth. It is made with hops and yeast, so yes, it is basically liquid bread. Now, one thing, if you guys walk away from this and let it start to boil, because it is liquid bread and it's got yeast in it, it will boil over very quickly. So it looks like we have reached that. So I'm going to let you go ahead and
just pour
it over.
Pour it over?
Yep.
All right. Look at that. So this does what to the... I mean, this just sort of marinates it?
It does. So whenever you braise, you've got to have liquid. It helps the meat not dry out so much during the cooking process.
All right.
So then we're basically just going to take our fun little foil here.
It smells good, actually.
Oh, it smells delicious. All right, and basically you're really looking for a very tight seal because part of braising is steaming. So you're actually cooking the meat very slowly in a very less harsh thing. So for you guys, this is a half pan that we use in commercial kitchens. Any kind of roasting pan, a Dutch oven, anything that you've got a lid on that it will tightly do, or using foil is perfectly fine.
So I have a question.
Sure.
I've seen crock pot recipes with
Yes.
this. It's the same thing, right? I mean, it's just cooking it slowly, but it's breaking down all the
sinew. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So sinew is the really tough fat that runs through meat. And so anytime that you cook low and slow, you are doing the same thing. But yeah, crock pots are a great way to go because they cook even lower than 300. So that's why it takes so much longer. But they do it at a very even heat, so it stays and it turns out very good meat.
Excellent.
We're just gonna go like this.
Okay.
And then in 3 hours, we will have this very, very pretty finished product. So basically when you're done,
Wow. Look at that.
you have this very beautiful piece of meat
Look at that. Holy cow.
that kind of cooks down, and you've got this really lovely
That would feed
flavor
all
to it.
County Limerick.
truth. And you've got, I would not suggest necessarily making a sauce out of that. You could strain the onions out and eat those separately. But it's gonna have a very salty flavor because the beef has been corned.
What is a corned beef? I mean, how do you corn a beef? What's the process?
You basically go through and it is kind of like dry aging meat. It's just a matter of they wet age it with mustard seed, clove, bay leaf, a little bit usually of caraway, and it stews in a pot. and just it absorbs all that flavor.
Ah, okay. But originally it was a fairly inexpensive way to preserve meat, right?
Yes, that is a very true statement. Yep, it is a very, very easy way because salt has been the curing agent for meat for years and years and years. And yeah, so yeah, we have this beautiful piece.
Awesome, congratulations. Yeah. So how do you like to serve this? What do you like to do to serve this?
Once it's cooked, I do take a lot of the fat off of it because the fat is not like beef fat where it's like pleasant to eat sometimes. So we usually take that off and then just slice it down and serve it that way with the, I tend to saute my cabbage because when you braise corned beef,
it gets really gushy.
It becomes very, very texturally not appealing. So we usually just saute. That way, what we do is we saute it and serve it on top.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
They'll be eating fine over at Waiting tonight.
Yeah, definitely. All right. All right, so we're gonna move on to sauteed cabbage. Obviously, it's pretty much in the name. So we're gonna break down the cabbage and then saute it in a little butter and just add some salt and pepper for flavor.
Okay. So
basically what you want to do when you get your head of cabbage is there's always going to be some like dry, kind of gross pieces. So you're just going to take those off, just peel them back.
My problem is I never know when to stop.
I usually do it until I find like not having either dark spots or it being very limp. So that looks about good to me.
All right.
So basically what you're going to do is you're going to cut it down the middle.
Okay, it doesn't have any special axes or anything.
It does not, nope.
Poor York.
I like it.
Okay.
All right, so you definitely do not want to eat the core.
Okay.
That is very hard, very bitter.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is you're going to take your knife and you're going to make an X, or a V,
A
I'm
V,
sorry.
got it.
That is the wrong thing. And just basically cut it out.
There you go. See this right here? Yeah.
Okay.
This is going to be a V, but my penmanship was never very good.
Neither was mine. We share that in common.
My second grade nun, Sister Joan Marie, said I would never amount to anything because my penmanship was so bad.
Oof. All right, so now what we do from there is we're going to take the middle of the V and just cut it completely in half.
Okay, like this?
Yep.
All right.
And then when you cut stuff, you always want to cut it on its flattest side. So that way you save your fingers.
Right.
So basically what you're going to do is you're just going to take it and do about ½ inch shred to it.
So.
Yep, about what that is.
About like that?
Just like that.
Didn't turn out too good.
That happens. The fun part about cabbage is you're cooking it down. So if you do get big pieces in it, you can, they will just cook down and not be that big of a deal.
All right. Okay, that's a quarter of the cabbage.
That sounds good.
Is that about what you need, is a quarter of the cabbage? Is that
Yep.
right?
So basically what we're going to do is we're going to throw the butter in that pan and let it melt a little bit.
All right.
There you go.
Oh, sorry.
Person after my own heart. I knew that was not
I'm
all
too
time.
lazy to wait. I'm an impatient guy.
All right. Okay, so we'll let it melt just a...
So as a newbie, this pan has a certain shape, right? It's not, 90 degree.
True.
What is it because you can swirl it around? But it's
Yep,
like a
so
wok,
it is
right?
considered a saute pan.
Okay.
And basically what that means is, yes, so that you can take the pan and you can swirl it around without things falling out of it.
Okay.
And you've got a wider surface. So basically what that means is that you can reduce liquids in it a little bit easier because you've got so much heat in a wider space. So then it allows for a lot more evaporation.
Sounds like physics.
Yeah. Which they will tell you is a lot in cooking. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dump this and this into the pan.
Just dump it in, right?
Yep.
This. Whoops. Do this. Whoops. Got it. It's like there's going to be a crime scene in here.
And that's part of the fun of cooking. All right, so the easiest way to do that is tongs to move it around.
Okay.
All right, and then while that's cooking down, you're gonna add probably a couple pinches of both salt and pepper, just to kind of give it a little seasoning. And the salt will help break down the water in the cabbage and kind of let go some of it.
So just a pinch.
A couple pinches.
A couple pinches.
Yeah.
That's a pinch.
That is. All right. So yeah, we're just gonna mix it around. Just like that. So then let it sit for a little bit, because then you'll start, once you let it sit, there you go. It'll start to get brown a little bit from the butter. All right.
Beautiful.
All right, so yep, and now we've got the sauteed cabbage to go with our beef.
There we go.
So
Wow.
we'll just turn it off and enjoy the corn or the cabbage and corned beef.
So, what's the trick here? So, what is this cut called?
That is, I don't know if there's actually a French term for that. It's kind of a cross between a julienne and a sliver.
Okay. So it's a Jula sliver.
There, I like it.
All right.
I like it. All right, so we're gonna start out with our Guinness glazed carrots.
Okay.
First, obviously, we're gonna cut the carrot.
All right.
So you're gonna take both ends off of it.
All right. Comme ça.
All right.
All right.
Then you're gonna cut it in half.
Okay, half this way.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you're gonna take each half and cut them in half.
Got it. Okay. This is the part where you lose the finger, right?
It is true.
There's that. That's how that happens.
Yep.
There we go.
All right.
All right.
So then we're gonna, lay them all flat.
Okay.
And then we're gonna cut them in half again.
Okay. A little easier this time, I think.
Yep. And then the smaller ones we're gonna cut in half again, and then the bigger ones we are gonna cut into thirds.
Got it. All right. So these are thirds?
Thirds, yep.
Okay. So it's probably like that, right?
Yep, like that.
And then one more.
Yep. There you go.
Yours look prettier than mine.
I've had a lot more years doing this.
Okay. Yes, one more?
Yep, one more. There we go.
Same thing here?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, maybe one more.
Yep, go ahead. That sounds good. Yeah, they'll cook thick. They'll cook quicker if they are thinner. There we go.
That one might be almost ready.
Yep, one each. You should be good on that. All right.
All right, there we go.
And now, because all good cooking starts with butter, we're gonna start with butter.
Yes, it does. Toss it in.
Yep, go ahead, toss it in. All right, so again, we're gonna let it melt.
All right. You used to. So you must have favorite pans that you have, right?
I do.
I think so. They're like old friends.
I do, yeah. My parents actually bought me, when I graduated culinary school, they bought me my favorite set of pans. And I still have them to this day. They are battle worn and they are.
But you know them.
But I know them.
Yeah.
I know exactly how they're going to cook. It is fun. I think when you decide that you want to learn how to cook or you know how to cook, you have your knives and you have, the way you like them. And
Well, if you're a carpenter, you have good tools, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah. So what was your cooking experience before this?
Well, if I'm going to eat, I'm going to have to cook. But when I was in high school, I had, numerous restaurant jobs, and including one of them was a cook at a ice cream place.
Oh, okay.
But it was just burgers and BLTs and that sort of thing. But I learned some basics. I learned basically that don't tick off the waitresses.
Hey, that is a very solid point. That is a very solid point. All right, so now that the butter is melted, we're going to go ahead and put the carrots in.
All right.
Yep, go ahead and do your cuts.
All right, there we go. And And so what do we have here?
So we have balsamic vinegar and honey.
Oh, and honey.
And
Okay.
basically what that's going to do is it's going to counteract the Guinness. Because once you start cooking Guinness down, we both know that Guinness has a very great flavor of coffee and chocolate. But it does go bitter at the end, right? So because we're cooking it down, we're intensifying that bitterness and actually cooking out some of the sweetness. So we need to add a little bit of that back.
Got it. Okay.
And while everybody thinks balsamic vinegar is very harsh, and it can be,
Right. It's sweet.
when you add it into things,
yeah.
it kind of adds a sweet note. So we're gonna pop open that can
All right.
of Guinness,
All right. Just
dump
pour
it
in.
all right in.
Sounds like cooking.
It does. The best part of cooking.
All
Now
right.
we're gonna take the balsamic.
Okay, drizzle it over.
Yep.
So it won't matter because I'm going to mix it up, right?
Yep.
All right, there's that.
And all the honey as well.
Oh, yeah. The kind of stuff that you feel like you're doing something your mom wouldn't want you to do.
Exactly. And getting all sorts of sticky in the process.
Yep. All right.
Perfect, that's good. Then we're gonna do a couple pinches of both the pepper and the salt again.
All right. Pinch one. Pinch two.
All right, and then use the tongs, we're gonna just mix it up a little bit.
Okay. Oh, this looks good. I'm impressed. Look at that. It smells great.
The thing I like about most of these recipes is it's like one or two ingredients and you can create a lot of flavor within that. And that's what I think I love about them. All right, so basically what's gonna happen is we're gonna let that Guinness come up to a boil. And once it comes up to a boil, then we're gonna reduce the heat down to medium. Right
Okay.
now it's at high. And then basically what's gonna happen is that we're gonna evaporate out a lot of that liquid.
Okay.
And once we do that, we're gonna create a glaze, because glazes is just reduced liquids. And cook the carrots while we're cooking out the liquid. And then you have your dish.
And you, of course, you can make this, you don't have to make the corned beef to make this, right?
No, this is something you can do totally separate from the corned beef. I actually really like them. They go really well with pork shank and kind of more of a winter, I guess,
I was thinking fall and winter, right?
Yep,
November.
Exactly.
Maybe a little
Exactly.
squash on the side just to get it done right there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not the healthiest recipe for you, but it
It has
does
carrots
have
in
very
it.
good flavor.
I could come up with something worse.
True. That is true.
That's a bigger deal, a million years ago when I was in college. I mean, it was health nuts that worried about that stuff. And, young people especially didn't pay any attention to how they ate. And now they do, and they're going to live a lot longer as a result.
Definitely.
But
Now-
we had more fun.
Probably a true statement. Now, the one fun fact about Guinness is that if you are vegan, you will not drink it, or you drink or eat anything that is made with it. It is actually distilled through fish guts.
Really?
For whatever reason, I do not know. But I have a couple vegan friends who will not touch it.
Really? So distill through to filter it?
I assume, yep.
Right.
I'm unfamiliar with that particular process. I know more about wine and spirit making than I do about beer making. But I do believe that is the.
Well, something that people don't know about Guinness, actually, relatively speaking, low in calories and low in alcohol, which are...
It is lower
Outside
in
the
alcohol
thing.
than most beer.
People don't think so because it's a very strong flavor. But...
Exactly. All right, so we've come up to a boil. We're just going
All
to
right.
reduce it down to medium. And basically let it cook. It's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes. You do have to keep an eye on it, stir it every once in a while.
Give it a little stir.
But yeah, basically you're looking for the liquid to kind of just become a glaze.
And how firm should the carrots be when you're done?
I think that, that is up to personal taste. A lot of people like some crunch to their vegetables while they eat them because they know they're fresher that way. Some people like carrots completely cooked all the way through. So I leave that up to who is ever cooking. To be honest, I like them with a little bit of of crunch to them because it's just a better mouthfeel to me. But it's however you want to make them.
So if you were cooking for, like a group, you would probably kind of try to get in the middle.
Try to, yep, kind of go more in the middle.
All right. I think that looks done.
All right, perfect. Yes, it does. Got a little bit of liquid left in there, which is what you want to see. Just because you don't want to run it completely dry, you run the risk of burning it that way. And yep, you've got a beautiful glaze on the color.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, you are good to go, sir.
Okay.
All right. So the next part of our dinner tonight is going to be a recipe called colcannon.
Colcannon. Okay.
Basically, it's just a beefed up mashed potato. It's going to have cabbage and leeks in it, along with a lot of butter and garlic.
Okay.
So basically what we're going to do is we're going to cut a leek. So what you want to do is you cut up to the dark green part.
Okay.
Just like that.
All right.
And then you cut off the hairy end.
Okay, the whole thing, or like that?
Yep, just like that.
All right.
All right, let's get these out of your way. And then we're going to cut it straight down the middle.
Straight down the middle.
Yep.
All right, more or less straight.
Yep. Then on its side, and then we're just going to create little half moons, probably about less than a quarter inch.
Quarter inch. Okay, so just bang, 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 right?
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Works. All right, so we're gonna start like we have everything else with butter.
More butter this time.
More butter this time.
This is serious.
So that's about 6 tablespoons of butter.
Okay.
So you gotta remember this butter is gonna be used to saute the cabbage and the leek, but also to flavor the mashed potato. So that's why there's so much more of it than what we have used previously.
Well, I didn't actually really need an excuse. That's.
I mean, I'm right there with you. Butter is amazing.
We got cows to employ.
Exactly. So if you had to pick a favorite dish of yours, what would you
Favorite dish? Oh, boy, that's a tough one because, there's so many, it depends, right?
Yep.
Like, if you're at a ball game, a good, all beef hot dog, kosher hot dog can't be beaten. If you're, having a couple beers with friends, it's pizza. I like steak. I like a good steakhouse steak. I like the steakhouse experience, actually.
Okay. So the bigger steaks,
bigger steaks, the whole thing, and
sauces.
I fell in with a bad crowd that likes wine. And,
I don't know if it's a bad crowd.
It's an expensive crowd.
It is an expensive crowd, I will give you that.
And boy, there's just nothing better than having a great, salad, with some, bread, and just a really perfectly done steak. Anybody can cook a steak. Very few can actually cook it right.
I agree. Most people think that a steak needs to be completely done on a grill, or on a grill. And to be honest with you, that is the worst way to cook a steak.
Really?
Yep. Most steakhouses, at least the one that I worked in, they either grill it or sear it, and then it goes into the oven. Because the oven has a very even heat to it. Where a grill or a griddle has hot spots, right?
Yeah, sure.
So you will get a very much even heat if you throw it in to finish it, to get it to whatever you want it to be. Now, if you want it to be rare, blue, or whatever, then yeah, you're gonna finish it on the top or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But if you're going for like a medium rare, you're gonna put it in the oven. All right, so we're gonna take your leeks and the cabbage in that bowl right there.
All right, leeks and cabbage. Look at that. These are gonna be some very fancy potatoes.
They are. Best way to do it right there, if we can get them.
All right.
Yep, we're gonna just have you saute that up just a little bit. Perfect. We're gonna let that cook down now. I've already cooked the potatoes for us.
Okay.
But when you make mashed potatoes, what you really want to remember is that you start them in a pot with cold water.
With cold water?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because it is a root vegetable, and if you start it in cold water, it'll evenly heat.
Ah, right.
So you want it to, because you don't want the outside done before the inside.
Got it.
And the bigger the potato, the harder that is.
And you leave the skins on?
I do for you. So we're using Yukon Golds, which is the flesh of it is a gold color. It's got on its own, a very buttery, very smooth texture to it versus an Idaho that's a little bit more starchy, so it's a little gummier. And the skins on it are so thin that, not like an Idaho where you have to work to cut through that.
It's like leather.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where these, they just kind of mash together, and you definitely will tell a consistency difference, but it's got most of the nutrients in potatoes are in the skin. So as much as I can, Yukon Golds, red potatoes are the same way. Their skins are very, very thin. So, and you get more nutrients from the skin. So we just leave them in.
All right.
So basically what you're looking for this is the cabbage and the leeks to have like a translucent kind of color to them, which tells you that they've cooked, they have that kind of sharp, because the leek is basically a cross between garlic and onion. So it has kind of that sharp flavor kind of cooked out of it, and now you have that more mild and sweet flavor that you're looking for. So they look pretty good. We're going to add, that is 1 1/4 cups of milk and 1/2 cup of cream.
Okay, there we go. I just pour it in.
Yep.
Doesn't curdle with all the other stuff?
It does not. We're going to turn down the heat just a touch since we've added it though, and stir it around. And basically what you're doing is, so you don't lower the temperature of your potatoes, you're going to warm up the milk so it actually incorporates better when you mash them.
Got it. So actually you're going to put this on the potatoes anyway?
Yep. So this is your liquid that's going to, help you mash potatoes.
Got it. Okay.
So we're going to let that come to just a little bit of a simmer.
Okay.
And actually I'll have you add your salt and pepper, just a couple pinches of both.
Couple pinches of both?
Yep. And of course that can be done to taste. So once you mash the potatoes with this, if you taste them and you're like, oh, it needs more salt, please go ahead and add it. This is just kind of a starting point to kind of help with the cooking process.
Oopsie. That's bound to happen.
We're usually doing it before you're done with us.
I'm surprised I didn't get it on myself because I usually do.
It happens.
So, what's the best kitchen rag to have?
Yes, yep.
What's the best kitchen rag to have?
I like the ones that don't have a lot of color in them, because as soon as you start putting the color in kitchen towels, they start to not be absorbent.
Oh, really?
That is super not helpful in a kitchen.
The towel is one job.
Exactly. And especially, you just gotta be careful if you are using your towels as stuff to grab stuff out of the oven. Just remember that if they get wet, it's gonna instantly transfer that heat to your hand.
Oh, right.
So if you're ever taking taking something out of the oven with a towel, you need it to be a dry towel.
Good to know.
All right, sir. It looks like we are ready to go. We can go ahead and pour those over the mashed potatoes. All right. And then this potato masher might be a little bit bigger than you're used to, but it'll still do the job.
I've gardened with smaller tools. Just push.
Yep, just push on down. There you go.
It smells awesome. And what are you looking for just in terms of, want it to be mush? Do you want it to have chunks?
You want it to be a little bit of both. So yep, you can use the masher to mix it around. You better remember the starch is coming out of the potatoes, so as you mash a little bit more, it will, come together. Yep. So there we go. Our last step is to add just the green onion fresh right over the top and mix it in. So it's kind of like green mashed potatoes.
Good Good call.
To stick with our St. Patrick's Day theme. All right, looks good. Perfect.
All right, there we go.
All right, you have made cold cannon.
Yes. I can't spell it, but I can look at it.
All right. So our last recipe of the day is Irish soda bread.
Oh.
So Irish soda bread is pretty cool because it doesn't have yeast, so it doesn't take as long to make and cook. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to start with flour. And we're going to add, the rising agent in it is baking soda.
Whole thing in?
Yep, whole thing in.
Okay.
We're going to add a little bit of salt because salt makes everything. Nope, all of it.
All of it, okay.
Yep. And then sugar.
Sugar. All of this.
All of it. All right, and then we're going to take our butter and we're going to do what we call crumbing it.
Crumbing it. Okay, this is going to involve fingers.
It is going to involve fingers. It's going to get
Stand
a
back.
little messy.
Hide your pets. All right, and I just sort of make sure that I mix it with my hands.
Yep, you want to take it and kind of just grind it into the flour.
Got it, okay.
Yep, just like that.
Look at that. I feel so primal. And get it one consistency, right?
Yep, basically what you're looking for is like a breadcrumb consistency. So you want all the butter to kind of melt in, and you use it with really cold butter straight out of the fridge.
But how long should this take?
It's probably, to do it correctly, probably about 4 to 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're gonna do, it looks like you've got a good start on it.
All right.
So we're gonna add our wet ingredients.
Okay.
So we've got buttermilk, which is going to react with the baking soda, and that's what's gonna cause our rise.
Really, I can see it already.
Oh yeah. And then 1 egg. All right. So go ahead and mix that around.
All right.
And then I'm gonna add the raisins as well.
Okay. This is the controversial ingredient.
It is.
You're going to lose family members over whether or not you put raisins in soda bread or not.
Or you don't use raisins, you use currants. Or you don't use either one. Yep.
Cranberries.
Yep. So basically this is gonna be a really wet dough,
Yeah.
as you can tell.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try to mix all the flour in there that we can.
All right. I'm doing a cruddy job here.
You are, no, you're doing the cruddy job because you're getting so messy.
Yeah, that's right. We have faucets.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, and then there we go. Yep, you just gotta take it all off your fingers
Look at that.
because that's the fun part of this.
Ever caulk a window?
That is kind of what it feels like, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's very thick.
All right.
All right. So basically what we're gonna do is just grind it into a ball.
Okay.
Kind of knead it in a little bit.
You can tell a professional because her hands don't get dirty. When
I don't know, it's because you did the bad part. All right, so then we're gonna stick it on our baking tray
All right.
with a little bit of parchment paper. Stick it down, and then the last part, because what's gonna happen is with the bicarbonate and the baking buttermilk, it's gonna wanna rise up really quickly. So you wanna help with that, so you're just gonna cut a big X in the middle, and so when it opens up, it has a place to go.
So you have a Brady Bunch volcano coming out of it?
Exactly. Now it's gonna take about an hour.
About an hour. Okay. That'll give me time to wash this off.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And a
look at
lot
that.
larger loaf than what we put
Wow, no
inside.
kidding. It grows a lot, doesn't it?
It does. And the first time I made it, it went in this way, and I was like, ooh, I'm not sure that works. But this is Irish soda bread. You can use it. It's a great
For
vehicle
anything.
for Irish butter, I won't lie.
Yeah.
Especially when it's warm. But it does also toast up very well.
Oh, really? Good.
Yep. So, and with any kind of jam or anything that you enjoy eating with it.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I mean, boy, this is going to be quite a feast tonight.
I think so. All right.
All right. Well, have fun trying this yourselves, folks.
Enjoy.
Be careful with the knives.